Welcome to another edition of the Leading Conversations podcast with Excel Leadership Network. Today, we are thrilled to have Jeff and Lisa Harrington on as our special guests. They are in Kauai, Hawaii. Did I pronounce that right?
Yep.
Kauai,
Yes.
Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm going to ask you about your story, but what are you doing there?
Well, we believe the Lord's intending us to plant the church, the Lion's Den Church, in the west side in the Waimea area of Kauai.
Well, I just think it's great. I know you guys have done church planting, and we're going to get into that, but you mentioned we're going to retire and move to Hawaii, but actually it's not really retiring. It's starting a church, and we all think it's the easiest place in the world. I'm sure it's like one of the more difficult places to plant.
Yeah, there's a lot of historical things that people don't know, but the bottom line is only 6% of the population attends a Bible-based, Christ-centered church on the island. 60% of the island identify themselves as nuns. I mean, not the Catholic kind, but just no religious affiliation whatsoever, which is double what's on the mainland. So
Yeah, and it's a population of 74,000.
Did you say nuns or nuts?
nuns. No, that's California.
Okay, that's California. Hey, well, let's back up at the beginning. Vitra, tell us a little bit about how you came to Christ. How did you come to faith?
Lisa, you want to go first?
Yeah. So I came to faith. I was raised in the church. I was raised in the Church of Christ. And I have very early memories of just the tradition of going every Sunday. My dad was a singer, led worship with his harmonica, with his pitch pipe. And
they don't do instruments, right?
They do not do instruments. Some of them do now. They're a little more progressive, but most do not. But I remember, just very vividly learning about the stories of Jesus in Sunday school. It was, great seeds were planted. I can tell you that. Then in about sometime before that, we stopped going to church altogether. Football became more important than the Sunday service. So when I was in the 7th grade, I joined Youth for Christ, which was on my campus at my middle school. And we went on a camp. I was able to go to church camp with them. And I accepted Christ in the back of a Toyota Corolla. And did nothing with that. Didn't know really what I had done because I didn't understand any of that.
I do want to interrupt and say that's probably one of the best things that's ever happened in the backseat of a
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, JD, because I didn't know if we would go there. But anyway, so when I started college, I just felt like this huge void in my life, just like this hole in my heart. I couldn't figure it out, didn't know what was going on. And I was at Fresno State, and I knew that I needed something. I just didn't know what it was. And I happened to be walking through the quad at Fresno State, and they have these like Bible campus ambassadors, and I actually went up and talked to somebody and asked them if they knew of a church, Christian-based church, and they led me to Northwest Church, which was just not even a mile from my home at the time. And I got up one Sunday, went there, and my life I've never looked back. Like that was it. And it was if Buf Carricker was I don't know if anybody knows him from back in the day, but he was my pastor at the time. And it was like that sermon was with a Jesus stick for me. And it just hit me and grabbed me and got very involved immediately and just plugged myself in, and then met this guy a couple of years later, and God got a hold of us together, and here we are almost 33 years later. So
well that's great. How about you, Jeff?
Well, I was not raised in church in any way, shape, or form. My mother was a raging alcoholic who was pretty physically abusive. In fact, my physical abuse stopped the day I told her I'd kill her if she ever hit me again. I was 16 years old. The only exposure I had to the gospel was actually Youth for Christ, which was actually just a night for me to get out of the house. I could smoke some pot and then go listen to stuff. And but the seeds were planted. I never did anything with it during that time. That would progress to my drug addiction later after 2 divorces, violence. I was a bouncer in a biker bar and a few other things were not good. And God came to me in a vision in what was my last drug binge, very much a vision of me going to hell and that he was the way to stop it. In that drug house, I actually stopped everything. And I still would submit to this day that if somebody had drug tested me or tested me for alcohol, I would have been clean and sober at that point because I saw everything for what it really was. I went to church with my sister that Sunday. That pastor discipled me. We thought it was a good idea. Hume Lake had a job to be a custodian. They called it accommodations. It was a fancy title for a guy with a college degree to say yes. I was encouraged to go. That was God's rehab, I think, for me. And that's actually where I would meet Lisa. She came up as a counselor, and I was processing a lot. And so then 11 months from the day I was saved, I was actually doing vocational youth ministry at Northwest Church. And here I am now, 33 years later, still doing it, still loving it, probably more passionate about it.
Yep.
And this is why we're here.
So it sounds like the call to ministry for both of you was kind of just a logical next step, or was there something more dramatic than that?
For me, it actually came through an anxiety attack in the middle of a church service. I was working a really good job, making a lot of money again, and I hated it. And I could not figure out what I was doing wrong. I mean, I'm doing all of that. I'm giving, I'm going to Bible study, I'm doing all this stuff. And I was just, and I'm very young in my faith. So at this point, it's 10 months into my faith. And I have this anxiety attack. They take me out in an ambulance. And we're in premarital counseling at the time. And I say what's going on. And he goes, Mitch Rivera was actually the college pastor going to do our wedding. And he goes, what do you think you're supposed to be doing? I go, I think I'm supposed to be investing in youth, but I don't know what that even means. So he asked me about being a youth pastor, and I had no idea what any of that meant. That's how unchurched I was. And 3 weeks before we got married, I became a junior high pastor intern.
Junior high pastor intern. I know what that is. That's like
A volunteer.
That was barely
my goodness. Well, we were fellow church planters back in the day in the late 90s, I guess it was. I was in the Bay Area. You guys were in Fresno. I think I won that one. But talk about how the church planting bug hit you.
Just the way God does things. I had just been fired as the youth pastor at Northwest Church because we were doing a lot of urban ministry, and it just wasn't
out of the box ministry at the time.
A lot of parents thought that was too dangerous, so I was actually fired. But at the same time, I was.
Well, hey, let me interrupt again and just say, you mentioned Buf character, you mentioned Mitch Rivera. I would just say, if you got fired from Northwest Church in Fresno back in the 90s, then, or whatever that was, I mean, that's like a green check mark on your resume. Oh, okay, he got fired from there. Wonderful.
Yeah.
There's some great legacy out of that whole deal there. And then there's some just head scratching stuff too. But you got fired.
Yeah, we were the head scratch, but God had really prepared us. I mean, honestly, prior to the firing, we actually knew a big change was coming. We didn't know what it looked like. And our whole ministry life has been about right angles. We're going this way, and all of a sudden God goes this way, and okay, we're going to go this way. And then God goes that. Okay, we're going to go that way. Okay, God, it's just been that way. So.
Yeah, I was very fortunate though, because I was actually sent out to the ministry to kind of oversee their West Side ministry, which was in a barrio, which had a thrift store, that type of stuff.
Which was the work he was doing with the youth.
Which is, that was the irony. It was actually what I was doing with the youth already, but then I was asked to take it over. In that process, God did a whole bunch of things. It takes too much time. But Jan Van Oosten, who had planted New Covenant Church by that time, came up to me at a funeral and asked me if I'd ever thought about planting a church. Again, I had no idea what that even meant. And so he became my coach and started going through some of the vision stuff and how to do that. And we were able to officially plant that church in 1997, 2 years after I'd been fired.
So is that what you do? You go to a funeral and look around for potential? That sounds like yawn, a lot of great stuff out of you Fresno folks, but just a lot of like, what is going, what? So, okay.
Very unconventional,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. So yeah, you planted Central, right? Central
Correct.
Fresno?
Yeah. Central Community Church, yes.
But you were there for quite a while.
Yeah, I pastored for 15 and a half years. And then the reason I gave it away, stepped away, was we'd made a lot of changes. There'd been some hurts there, obviously, at some point. I ministered through that. But I actually sat with my deacons and I said, we keep making changes and nothing really changes. We haven't changed the head leader. And I think we need to change the head leader. And so we did. We went through a purposeful 7-month transition to bring somebody in and for me to step away. And I didn't step toward anything, actually. God didn't do anything like that. In fact, I
How
would
hard was that?
I can be very pragmatic when I know it's right. And so I knew it was right. But once it was done, there was that emptiness.
The wilderness.
The routine's gone. I wasn't called toward anything. So I had to just make ends meet with 4 different jobs, actually, over the next 10 months. And so, but it was definitely the right thing for me. It was the right thing for the church. It was the right thing for our marriage. So God could minister. So I could be open to being ministered to by the Spirit, quite frankly. So.
Yeah.
But you jumped back into ministry, is that right?
I did. I actually went back to Northwest Church because I didn't have a church. I actually ended up being the head of the missions team, which is a little bit ironic during that time, and did some work there. But then, there was a prophetic move that ended up having me go become part of a church where Mitch Rivera was the lead pastor, where they called me for an interview process, and then I did that and basically became an intentional interim pastor for the 11 years. The past 11 years.
Well, I've just always appreciated you guys and your tenacity and your ministry and your heart for people, your heart for hurting people, your heart for the lost. What caused you to go, hey, let's go to Hawaii and plant? What is that about? A lot of people threaten to do that, but you guys actually did it.
Yeah. So, gosh, yeah, I will. So when we were still at Central Community Church, God sent us on a little respite, and I went kicking and screaming. I didn't really want to go, but I went. It was up in the Genesee Valley. It was a beautiful restored farmhouse, and there was no phone service. There was no TVs. It was just us in the middle of the 16,000 acre cattle ranch, being ministered to, really, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. And my not wanting to go always usually means that I'm supposed to be there because God's got to tell me something. And during that trip, the next day I didn't want to come home. So during that trip, God really spoke to me about having a hospitality home where people could be ministered to and receive respite, pastors and their spouses, people from the mission field, hurting, grieving couples who need just a little bit more care before they go back to wherever the back is. And God really spoke to me that, and he has kept that on my heart for over 2 decades, really. And I knew it was supposed to be in Hawaii. Don't know why. I don't know why.
We hadn't even been here yet.
Well, I had.
Yeah.
And so we came to Hawaii. We didn't come to Kauai. We went to the Big Island, and just something struck. And a couple of years later, we took our kids here to Kauai. And when we came, Jeff was like transformed. I've never seen Jeff so relaxed. I've never seen him feel so at home. Just a completely different person. And that has to do with actually his family lineage that he knew nothing about upon us coming here. And so I'll let him kind of take it over from there.
Yeah, so it came again. I don't have a place to look back in my history that's home. Nothing, because my dad was federal crimes, so we didn't have a place. We didn't stay very long in any place. I went to 4 different elementary schools long before that was fashionable.
Your dad was federal crime. Was he committing them or was he trying to solve them?
No, he was
Committing them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So all the stuff that I realized we had materially back in those days was actually from prophets, so to speak. And so when we got to Kauai, though, I felt at home, and it was a kind of a weird feeling because I didn't know what to feel. I didn't even know what that meant. Later on, about our 3rd or 4th visit, I realized that's actually my family heritage. My mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother were all born in the town where we live right now. And my great-great-grandfather and grandmother immigrated here from the San Verde Islands, Portuguese, in the 1870s. And so
And he didn't know that.
I didn't know that. And so it was kind of interesting, but as we made our plans, we prayed to God, made plans. God provided us the opportunity to buy the home that we're in. We have no business owning this home. We bought a place in Poipu for the cost of a home in Fresno. So there's just
It's a condo.
no way. It's a condo, but
two-bedroom
still, it
condo,
wouldn't have
yeah.
mattered. But
Yeah.
so 4 years ago, we were able to do that. But we also were very committed. We're going to do ministry here somehow. What ministry would we do? The hospitality house would be part of that, but probably another step.
Yeah.
And over the last 4 years, the idea, the thought of planting a church as we developed relationships here in our visits with
And
the
saw the
HOA
darkness.
people, understanding the spiritual
darkness.
darkness, the idea of church planting came to be, and then probably processed that for close to a year
Yeah.
before we formally said yes, in a sense, to God. Early July of last year.
No. Before
Oh.
Jeff said, "Hey, Lisa, I think we're going to plant a church here. So we're going to move here next year." Okay. Because that's kind of how it works, right?
Yeah.
He just tells us and we do it.
Wow. So you've just been there a couple months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 months on the 20th, officially. Yeah.
Well, that is it's so cool to see your intentionality on that. And Hawaii obviously is a place that needs Jesus. A beautiful place, but
Yeah.
a lot of spiritual darkness, right?
Yeah.
We tell people, it's a phenomenal place to have vacation. It is completely the other side of the coin to do life and ministry here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, how about this as the well, I guess I have 2 questions. My last question is going to be just give us a leadership tip, each of you. But before that, you have this hospitality gift, so we can come over and stay.
You can. We have a bedroom and a bathroom just for you. Whoever wants to come.
If church planting couple or person wants to go, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can just contact us. Jeff can give the Lions Den Church information, and we actually have our first hospitality guest coming in January. Somebody who is suffering from a horrible disease and needs some respite, just needs some downtime. And so looking forward to that opportunity. And so, yeah, Jeff can they get a hold of you, JD? I don't know.
Yeah, just say
give them the information.
if you want to go to Hawaii and stay with Jeff and Lisa, just contact us.
And our dog.
Yeah, we'll set that up. We'll charge you
Yeah.
some money for it and make some money off of it, and then you can go stay with them for free. So
There you go.
contact us. But I know that you've offered that before, Lisa. So I want to keep it up. But hey, each of you, how about one leadership tip? You've been in ministry for a long time. What would you say?
I don't know, and it's exactly what I'm having to do now. So it's a leader has to serve.
Yeah.
And they have to serve in a way that people can see it, not so you can be seen, but they can be observed, and because that's the teachable moments. For a pastor specifically, oftentimes it needs to be outside of the church context, and so that's why I'm being involved with Young Life and with going into the school district to be a substitute teacher.
Yeah.
So that I can serve, in a sense, outside of a church context and just be a person in the community. And I just practice that, and I just think I can't remove that from the equation of leadership, that we have to be serving.
Yeah. And I'll just piggyback on that, really. I mean, I just actually did a meme sort of, but, on leadership in government. If you are telling people under your purview what to do, and you're not doing it alongside, you're not showing, you're not leading by example, you're not getting your hands dirty in the mix, you are not leading, you're dictating. And so it really is about being a servant and putting others before yourself. So
you guys have always been those people, the servant leaders, and I'm really happy for you. We're praying that God does some great things. One last thing, I said that was the last question. What's the weather like today?
Well, unfortunately, it's like yesterday, and it'll be like this tomorrow. It's 85 degrees with a northwesterly wind coming
Trade
across
wind.
the island. A little bit of morning rain.
surf is at 2 to 3 feet if you're interested in surfing at all.
It does not vary very, very much.
It's not very, very much.
Good for you. We really appreciate what you're doing, and we really appreciate you guys. Thanks for being on.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Thank you.